Insider, we got a special student who's joining us today who's recently graduated from the LMA course, and she'll be sharing with us in terms of her journey on board this transformative experience and what she really took out of this experience. So just want to say it's a pleasure to see you. Let's just start with the introductory question. What's your name? Where are you currently based? And what do you currently do?
My name is Elaine Lewis, and AKA I go by the name of Sela Rock when I'm doing my float thing. And I don't know what you call it, but I work with couples. I'm a couples ministry. So I work with them and teaching them how to be married and teaching them all those particular things. So that's what I do. I'm a counselor for marital couples.
Okay, nice. Well, firstly, I've been seeing you so many times, like I said, just before this interview in our support group, and even seen your daughter getting involved as well, which is absolutely amazing. And
Right. My granddaughter.
our
That's my,
granddaughter, our
yeah,
granddaughter. Okay, sorry. But either way, just truly just amplifying great energy, and
yeah.
just I can see that you're inspired deep within. But I suppose I'm curious to know, before you had, joined us on board LMA, like what was you experiencing in your life in terms of inner problems? How was that showing up for you? And why did you want to resolve it?
I found myself in a state, when your life makes a transition.
Mm.
And my children all I just graduated my last child. Um, and I had just buried my mother and was going through the death of my father, going through just transformation in regards to not knowing how to communicate properly. Everything that I would do would be miscommunicated or miscalculated or even misinterpreted.
Mm.
And I found that I took a lot of those things personally. I was definitely in victim mentality on steroids. And after my father passed, I think it was in like the season 15, I was actually trying to do that while I was trying to bury, trying to pack, and still trying to be a part of. And I began to realize that I was wounded, or so I thought. And then really, I come to find out that I was actually kind of broken. There are a lot of things that just were not working for me. So, of course, everybody sees your ad, and and of course, we watch it 9,000 times because we really don't want to see your ad because to our spirit, you know what I mean? And a lot of people, let's face it, we are walking in denial most of the time of who we are and who we want to be,
Yeah.
and we push ourselves over to other people. So that's kind of what I was going through. I was a giver. Automatically, I was still doing the ministry automatically. So I was giving a lot of myself and didn't have a lot to give to myself.
Yeah.
So
So you saw the ad 9,000 times. Eventually, of course, you you clicked through. You clicked through, and you attended that free masterclass with us.
I did.
So you stayed all the way to the end. What was it about that masterclass that resonated with you, and what made you want to listen all the way to the end of that class?
Well, you have this innate ability to reach inside the self of a person if they really want to be real. And I don't know what that's like with people who don't want to be real, but I think there comes a point in time, Tim, where you realize that either I'm going to, as the mothers say, you're going to poo poo or get off the pot in life.
Mm.
And just because you're doing things for others and just because you have a job and just because you have a title doesn't mean you're entitled to peace, inner peace. And I didn't have that. So I just decided after listening to that that I wanted to hear more. And when you want to hear more, you're like, I really don't want to hear more because you realize that you're going to possibly sign up. And at that point in time, I was already signed up. I was signed up with a big to deal to do, and just to remain nameless. But I had been in there like about 3 weeks, and I thought I was getting some stuff. And though they were giving me information,
Yeah.
they were not giving me things that would give me transformation.
Right. So you was already signed up to another information like course or whatever.
Yeah, big
Wow.
time, big
So
popular.
yeah. So what made you want to take on another course at the same time, which was the LMA course?
Tim, this is the powerhouse of all. This is an empowerment, and I think I say it all the time, but this isn't a powerhouse course. This is a course that takes you beyond empowerment and takes you into internal transformation. That's totally different. And when you have internal transformation, you can do anything. When you have empowerment with a period dot, that just allows you to kind of do superficial stuff. Here, this is poured into my family. This is poured into my grandchild, as you can tell. It's poured into my innermost being. It pours into my jobs that I do, and it pours into everything that I function from this day forward. Like as I said, I will never ever be the same because of how we're getting tools to not just exist, to not just be, not just become, to actually be actualized.
Mm. Just before we start talking more about that, when you were presented that chance to join LMA, and
Yeah.
you were saying, you were already signed up to another course. Other than that, what were some of your doubts you had or fears you had about making this decision? And what ended up putting that to rest for you?
The questions that were asked in that free live that we had were very telling. And I have to go back just a little bit. That was not the only course I had taken. I was just in a course. I had already taken about two or three and read several books that were, very popular, that were very much on the curve that people talk about. But what led me to this is, again, it meets your spirit. It's spirit deciding if you want to tell your ego what to do, and deciding to take the helm of your life. And so yours is head and shoulders, without downplaying anyone else's, because I know we're always trying to be on that positive tip. But there's a difference when you can reach in beyond race, beyond creed, beyond culture, beyond ethnicity, beyond age, beyond I have no words. I mean, this course allows anyone to just go in and do the work and come out on the other side brand new, brand new, brand spanking new. That's why. So
Mm.
I decided to take the chance and jump in. So I was with two courses at the same time.
Wow.
So I was literally financially stressed,
Mm.
plus packing up my father's things, plus getting ready to bury my father, plus all those things at the same time. But your message cuts through like a laser for those who want to be engaged in real life, living and breathing. I could breathe after this course, Tim. Literally, I could breathe.
Wow. And how does that appear in your life? How does that look like when you're breathing?
Know what to do with it. I had never been breathing before.
Right.
so,
Mm.
so when you don't know what that's like, um, okay, I might have to pull out this little tissue because I was going through the process, and my granddaughter told me that you are fun again. You're laughing again.
Oh,
You're not taking everything so seriously now. I want to be in your presence now. And and it even extends, and without even getting personal, it extends into your marital relationship, your marital bed. I mean, this place takes you to places that you never thought that you could really go, with transforming and renewing by just being comfortable in your skin.
and was
I
that what got
tell
you?
you,
Yeah. And was that what got your granddaughter curious about the LMA to want to take part in some exercises?
I think so. She just started seeing me in the mirror doing stuff, and we started kind of, and I recognized that
Mm.
it was transforming her, Tim. It was taking a child that I had inadvertently didn't know that I was harming, Tim, you know, and allowing her to pull back her own layers. So this doesn't, when we talk about transformation, how selfish is transformation if it only is for self, but
Mm.
you can't see the effects of it outside. So I know that I will be changing generations to come, and then Jalea will be not necessarily incubated in negativity She took a heavy hit when we went through the process. Everybody was watching all the last administration, and she was seeing all the hate and all the this. She took a big hit. And then being stuck under COVID, it really hit her, and it hit all of us. And I think to give her tools as well, to allow her to come to the plate. We underestimate what our children are receiving from us. And so it is up to us to put that mask on our face first. And with that, the rest is whatever. We do affirmations on the way from school back to school. We put the affirmations together and take out a word, and she fills in the word, and they memorize it better than we do. So, but it's just been wonderful.
Nice. Because you was able to put that mask on you, in turn, you're able to put that mask on others now. But this,
Absolutely,
yeah, that's
absolutely.
amazing. Truly amazing. So let's talk about putting that mask on you. When you joined us on board LMA, initial first impressions wise, since you were well versed in personal development, you read books, went through other courses, you was even on a course. How did you know, or when did you know this was different? And what made you just want to keep going forward?
Okay, well, since we're being real about the real, I did not know first season. I was testing your spirit. I really wanted to know, were you what you say you were going to be? Because now that I'm in my 60s,
Mm,
I don't want to put not that no, I'm not even going to say that. Um, I just want to know from the inside out, is this the real deal? So I went through season 14 saying nothing, having purchased it. I
okay.
went through season 15 all the way up until week 3 saying nothing because I'm still seeing if this is great. And of course, you feel in a way, you want to get in, you want to get in. But then I called someone off of the messaging and just inquired on how do I double dutch in? How do I get in there? So I got in on my third week, season 15, and I've never looked back because I saw my whole transformational process begin to happen. And as you say, you can't just see it, you can't just observe it, and you can't even have a goal in mind. The goal should be just being a part of the process and trusting this process.
Wow. Oh, I didn't know. Of course, you was invisible for the first season because, of course, you did show up. But yeah. But when you showed up, I mean, oh my, I see you like literally almost every day, every time I am logged in, in our support group, of course. So that's awesome. So a part of you at the start had healthy dose of skepticism in a way. And then eventually you thought, you know what, I'm going to go all in. Let me just give it a try, experience it myself. Okay. So out of the modules of LMA, when you was experiencing it yourself, when you was learning about the modules, which module would you say like had like a big shift on your life in terms of it changed something or transformed something?
Right. Mm. It must be nice to have all these modules that people can't pick from, Tim. But however, I would say, of course, each season is different because as you mature, which is why I love the fact that we have a lifetime where you can just go through once you join.
Mm.
But at that point in time, because I just lost my father and all of that, it was two. It was module 2 because I had a lot of unresolved issues that I had to deal with. And I recognized that until you really go through 2, you can't really effectively, in my own personal evaluation, you can't go through the rest of it. So when I went through 2, I took a real serious hit. Fact is, I dropped out just from being on point. And I think that's what brought me to the 15 where I went to 3, but I couldn't quite really get in there because I was still writing my letters. I was still trying to forgive myself. I was still trying to forgive others. I was still trying to learn a way of effective communication, all those things, which I think come into because hurt people. And I had to really come to the realization that as wonderfully as I felt that I was doing things for others, I really was detrimental to those who are trying to get their own lives together. And that's hard to look at, you know, when you start really re-examining. I had to write a letter to someone else, but I also had to write a letter, a forgiveness letter for myself, you know. So that's powerful when you have to look at the layers of who you have become, why you become, without being able to blame anyone else now, you know.
Yeah.
Big thing.
Def-
Powerful, powerful tool.
mm. Well, it's definitely not an easy module. You know, that's when we officially begin the course, I believe, because it's all about letting go. So you persevered in the end. You did go all in because you graduated. So I suppose the question we're all, wondering is, what sort of benefits has it had on your life now, having gone through this methodology and experienced it yourself? What benefits, what changes have you seen?
Well, of course, I'm not going to be able to name them all. So I'll start with my relational pillar. You know, I've learned again not to take things personally. And I think that is the start of many things. I've learned not to. Now everything that I have read, every person that I have read now and everyone that I have tried, now it all comes together. You know, you provide the tool, we can see those things. So in my relationship pillar, there's this greater joy. You know, I really am brimming with energy and overflowing with joy, for real, for real, for real. And I have decided that I am at peace with all that is happening, that will happen, and has happened. You know what I mean? I'm able to actually live out and personify every single affirmation that I do, filtered by my identity statement, which is the beacon of light, which, you know, I was something else prior. But now that I know who I am and what I've done in my life, and it all makes sense, it's something to be said to be able to marry yourself again. I've married myself again to the point to where I don't have to um, apologize for wanting to be a light. I don't have to apologize for wanting to see things on a brighter tip. That's just what we're supposed to be. And to be free of the weight of someone else's life, my life, freedom, liberation, uh, to be a collaboration, to be a communicator, to be all that it is that I've been meant to be, and to be open to the process. You know, you've opened my mind, you've opened my capacity for love, uh, across the board, you know, working out, knowing that just because you work out doesn't mean you're, I used to hear from people all the time, you must be vain because you're always working out, because you always want to show up, you always want to look good. I didn't realize that their lens was different from my lens. I had to recognize through this course um, that you're allowed to be pain free. You're allowed to be seen, not by the image that others want to put you in, but who you really are. And you're allowed to be perfected in your imperfections. And you're allowed to live this life, not just be and exist, but live it to the full, you know. And I can go on and on and on about this particular course, but I also learned not to make any assumptions,
Mm.
not to take things personally, to always stand up for myself, always end up with integrity, to have my words really mean something. And it's okay that even if I can't be everything everywhere, that I don't have to beat myself up about it, that I have the right to have boundaries. You know, just because we serve people doesn't give them the right to have to stand over our boundaries. We have the right to say no, just like we have the right to say yes. I
Mm.
could go on and on and on. So don't, you know, you have to stop me because it's good.
I really appreciate it. I think we can feel just from your energy alone, what is meant to you, this journey and this experience. So I suppose for somebody watching this video right now and listening to your story right now, what advice would you give to them if they're currently considering in possibly joining us on board LMA, but kind of stuck in a limbo? What advice would you give to this individual?
If you're watching this video and you really want to find a way to transform your life instead of just go with the status quo, doing what other people want you to do with your life, I think you should try LMA so that you can finally decide that it's time for you to get in the game of your own life. That's what I would say. no money, no words that I can tell you is the answer. The answer is getting in the game and finding out if this is for you.